The EZSrve browser interface allows you to activate what are called macros with any devices that have already been added to the EZSrve network. You can think of macros as if-then conditionals. When one device is given a specific command under specific conditions designated by the user, it triggers a command in another device. For example, you could set up a macro that dictated that when a motion detector sensed movement, it would trigger a certain set of lights to come on. Let's go over the process of how to set up and monitor macros. First, select the timers, macros, and holiday icon on the left-hand side of the screen here. Then select the Setup Macros icon from the top. Make sure that the Macros field reads Add New Macro. If it does not, simply use the pull-down menu. Enter a name for your macro in the Macro Name field. This macro I'm going to entitle simply Macro 1, but for your purposes it might work to use something a little more specific. Then enter the if device using the pull-down menu. The if device is the device upon which the macro is predicated. Note that only devices that have been already added to the EZSrve network will be able to be selected in the if device pull-down menu. Next, select the command or action that triggers the macro in that particular device. Next, you are going to set the time parameters within which the macro will be applicable. In the When field, use the drop-down menu to select between many different options that you have here. If you want the macro to be applicable at any time, simply select any time. If you would like it to be applicable at only a fixed time, select Fixed Time, then go to the Time field and select an hour and minute that you would like the macro to be applicable. The Between Time and Time plus Offset option gives you an interval within which the macro will be applicable. Simply select that option, enter a time with the hours and minutes, then go to the Offset field and select a time in hours and minutes as well. This macro will then be applicable only if the dimmer 1 turns on between the hours of 5:30 and 6 a.m. If the dimmer 1 happens to turn on outside the interval designated by the macro, then the macro will not be activated. The at sunrise plus time, at sunrise minus time, at sunset plus time, and at sunset minus time are all options that revolve around sunrise and sunset. Simply select one of them, enter a time in the time field in hours and minutes, and that will be the time within which your macro is applicable. The Between Sunrise and Sunset and Between Sunset and Sunrise also offer you intervals within which to set your macro. Again, if the command is given to the device at a time that is outside the interval that you designate, the macro will not be triggered. For this macro, I will keep it simple and say that at any time the macro will be applicable. Next, select the days on which you would like your macro to be applicable. For instance, you may only want to have it applicable on weekdays. Simply select the days that you would like. Next, in the Then Device field, select the Then Device. The Then Device is simply the device triggered by the macro once the if device has been given the command under the time parameters you have chosen. you select the then command in the does field. There is also an option for a delay. In the after delaying field, simply select hours, minutes, and seconds that you would like to delay the then command. Once you have entered all the information that you would like, select Save up at the top and click OK to confirm. Once you have created a macro, you can modify it by going up to the macro field and using the drop-down menu to select the macro that you would like to modify. Selecting it, you will see all the parameters that you have entered before, and you can modify them as you wish. After making any modifications that you want, select Save. And congratulations, you have now set up and can manipulate your macros.